PHOA. This is Brenda Roseanne. This is...
Hello, Brenda.
Hi. No, we're gonna go around.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Jane, also on the board.
Jane?
Yep. I'm the secretary. I can write everything up.
Hi, Joe. I'm Kathy Nucci. I'm the treasurer.
All
I'm
right.
Falcone, just the director.
And then over here, we
Hi,
have...
I'm Jill Blaze, Vice President.
Hey, Joe, Jeff Stone, I'm the counsel for the association.
All right.
Alrighty, okay. I'm gonna start the meeting. It is now 5:01. I'm gonna call it to order. We did establish quorum. And we did have proof of notice. Everybody got via email, and everybody also, and I also put it on the CBD. So yes. Okay, the meeting minutes for our last meeting,
Where's your copy?
which is, and everybody has it. Did everybody read the meeting minutes of our last meeting?
October 27th. Oh.
Page 7.
And page 4 of your packet.
Just wanna make sure.
We all
Okay,
send in our corrections.
Yeah, we did.
okay. So, with
I move we accept the minutes from October.
does anybody second it?
I second.
All in favor?
So who seconded it?
Aye.
Jill.
Old business. Okay, our last meeting was November 8th. We had a walkthrough, and because we had everybody on the board, on the golf cart going from house to house, that was considered quorum, and we had a meeting. That was our meeting. Now, December, we did not have a meeting due to the holidays, and unfortunately, my sister passed away December 15th. It just happened, so I wasn't gonna have a meeting. So that's why we did not have a meeting in December. Now, January, we had a problem with the actual financials, and so we did not have a meeting in January and February, and that's why we have Joe on the line, our CPA, for that apparent reason. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into the financial statements. And I'm going to go to you now, Brenda,
Okay.
if you take over from there, and then I'll go back.
As you all know, the last financials that were uploaded were November. They were incorrect. Obviously, it was caught and brought to my attention. I then started talking to Joe's firm and trying to get the corrections made for the year end. He has put me in touch with Kelly from his firm. She has been amazing. She gave me a list of changes that needed to be made to the financials. There was one missing component on my end. I didn't understand how she wanted it done. She emailed me back yesterday. I was literally working on that stuff, trying to get it completed for you up until I had to leave for the meeting. So my goal is to have the revised November, December, January, and February financials uploaded no later than the weekend. Now, Joe and his firm are working on the audit, and we should be having that, and you can tell me when, Joe, but then once we receive that from the CPA firm, that will also be uploaded and shared with everybody.
Okay. Insurance claims.
See if he wants to.
Oh, Joe, do you want to say?
Yes.
Do you want to add anything to that, as far as what Brenda just said?
Yeah, I probably should mention it. You guys don't actually get an audit from us.
Okay.
You guys have something called a compilation done. CPAs issue 3 kinds of reports: compilations, reviews, and then audits. Compilations are the least expensive, and so what financial do you need to have done? Well, you have to abide by state statute and your documents. So generally, if an association has less than $300,000 of income a year, total income, you can just do the compilation. But sometimes the documents call for an audit. You have to go with the higher level of the two, between the documents and the state law. So we actually we'll be doing a compilation for you. And I don't think we sent it to you yet, but it's been completed. It's been map checked and it's ready to go. Brenda, should I hang on to these until you can send me the revised December financial? That way I can check to see if there's any changes.
We can do that if you'd like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All I need is see December.
All right, no problem.
And I probably should mention that another client called me and she said, thank God for Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kelly did such a great job for her. So, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, Kelly was awesome.
She was.
Very responsive, yes.
Yes.
She's to be commended.
Yes,
She's the best.
she is. You're lucky.
I am lucky.
Okay. All right, now the insurance claim. Okay, Vista never pursued the insurance claim. The backflow accident from last year, March of 2022. It came out to about $7,932.50. So,
I'm sorry to interrupt
Good.
you. Before
Okay.
we move forward, should we see if there's anything for him so he can go and sit for
well, he
nothing?
might have to, because if there's any questions, if you want to go through, why don't you go through the financials then, and I'll go back to this, in case any of the other homeowners have questions regarding that.
Well, I'm
Right? Am
I'm not
I
in
correct?
a hurry to get out of here, so.
Oh,
It's okay? Okay.
all right, I'm sorry.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so the breakdown is we had $4,482 was for the actual fire safety repairs. $300 was for the irrigation repairs. $650 for a reinspection fee, and $2,500 was for the landscape pavers. So they had to take all the pavers out and put the pavers back for building 3. We got paid for that finally in
On March 2nd, I had to resubmit
2023.
all the paperwork and all the pictures.
So,
Vista had done nothing, right?
they did nothing.
Nothing.
Vista, I'll tell you all about Vista when we get to Vista, but I have that as well, okay? Becker payment, number D. The June 30th meeting we had back with Vista, Rob ran the meeting and Neil beside him. And we approved $11,600. If you look at the minutes, you'll see it, to pay Becker his amount of money. We took out the $500 deposit that they had, the retainer that we took out. So we paid them $11,600, and,
Well, we approved,
well, we approved it, but they never paid it.
but they never paid it, right, right.
So-
They approved it, but it was never.
Never paid. So One Source came in July, they started in August, and they went through everything, and finally, we paid, when I went back and forth with Suzette over at Becker's, questioning, and in fact, I'm still disputing some of the bill, because she sent me a little bit more than, of what she felt needed to be paid. So I'm still disputing a $700 bill in addition to it, okay? So, we paid them $11,600, we received $7,932.50 from the insurance claim, and now I'm waiting to approve. We will not until I find out. She and I have to go through this for $748.04. So I'm still disputing it, girls. So as soon as I get back to her and she gets back to me, we'll talk about that in the next month's meeting, okay? Okay, Pistorino and Alarm Retainer. Okay, we, the current board, were not aware of this retainer. number one. Vista was always excluded from the closed board meetings, and they did not have this information. There was no legitimate record of any of these meetings because no minutes were ever taken at the time. The reason for the change in attorneys was the HOA attorney at the time attended the closed litigation meetings for 3 to 5 years and did not ensure that the board was keeping legally required records. One source reviewed the information and records from Vista and found that the retainer was utilized in September 2018 at the directive of the previous president. See the documentation attached. There's 10 pages here, ladies, that Brenda found. And I know we all went through all of this. It was applied, invoice number 76574, 310222.
Yes, that's the
You
invoice
wanna,
on this page.
okay, you wanna go on from here because this is now
Sure.
yours.
Which page are we on?
Here,
The blues.
it's
Thank you.
marked. So what I found was the invoices for this consulting engineer, trying to find out if we should have requested a refund of the retainer or what had happened. And I found the invoice, and then I found the email that told Vista to pay. The invoice was for $6,102.22, and the board approved the invoice minus the retainer. So the retainer was applied to that last invoice of 6102.22. And then all the documentation is here to support that the retainer was applied.
May I interject something here if you don't allow me to do that to clarify
Can-
something? Or can I do it
Okay,
afterwards?
do it after. Okay, let's finish the meeting.
I understand.
Okay, so there is, at this point, we know where this is and we know we're not getting that money back
Correct.
completely. So does the board members agree?
I move that we vote in favor of this bill, or this.
Well, basically what we're doing is we're gonna remove the
We're just gonna
retainer
remove
from the
it.
balance
Yeah,
sheet.
right, exactly.
Because the retainer is no longer a part of your,
You can't, because they
I'll
still
talk to
vote.
the CPA about it.
But if you're voting on it, then you're removing it, you can't remove it because they owe it to us. I can give you all the records.
I haven't, but okay, we'll talk about that next.
Okay, so, all right, so now we're on number E. Oh, wait, I just did E. So now we're on black belt, monitoring fee.
I'm not doing this anymore.
Okay, Black Belt did not submit the invoice for the monitoring fee until 2/23. For some apparent reason, he didn't send it to the right email address. He was very sorry about that and resubmitted it, and it has since been paid, and there was no lapse in any monitoring whatsoever. So, and we also had an inspection, and we did find that we had one problem, believe it or not, a water flow at Jill's place, unit,
1368.
yeah, 1368. So we're gonna have to have that fixed right now. But that was the only problem, that's something, you know, for a while, that's what I said. Thank you. Okay, so now, special assessment breakdown. I'm gonna let you go with that one.
Okay. So, with the special assessments that occurred last year, the total collected was $58,140. That amount, plus money from reserves, is what paid for the pavers and the gutters. The landscape drainage was paid from an excess of operating, which we will get into in a minute. So per the CPA, we made journal entries to show that all of these funds were transferred into operating, and these projects were then paid out of operating. And those were corrections per the CPA's recommendation.
Okay. So, reserve withdrawals.
which just kind of supports what we
Kind of
just.
supports what we just said from Kelly and from Joe, the CPA. What did I have?
I don't know if I have it.
I have.
I think I tore it off because I was working on it this afternoon before the meeting.
I have it, here it is, whatever.
So here's the email that I got from the CPA about the special projects, and it says, we treated the gutter, paver, drainage special project as operating expenses and showed the reserve fund reimbursing the operating fund for $160,000. In this way, the overage on the project comes out of the operating fund instead of reserves. We also showed that the special assessments that originally showed as transferred to reserves, we did no line item and put them back into operating, so everything was paid from operating, per the email of the CPA.
Okay. Drainage overage. Okay. The original estimate that I got from TerraCare was for $20,114, and it was approved. The drainage was changed, and the cost was a lot more than we expected. It was double. Okay? So we used the settlement funds. We received $47,500 for settlement funds, and then we had to pay $11,600 to the attorney Becker, which left us a balance of $37,600. So we took those funds and applied those funds to the drainage. What had happened was, when he gave us an original proposal, his proposal was for pop-ups. And we put pop-ups in building 15, 14, 13, and 12. Then we had the hurricane. Hurricane number 1 came. That was it. And what happened was, the pop-ups got filled with all of the actual leaves coming down from the gutters in there, and the water wasn't coming out. So this was not doing us any good. So I got him back, and I said, we have to make changes here. This isn't going to work. Now he had to take them all out, because they were cemented, take all the cement out, put in the 12-inch drains.
The ugly drains.
And yeah, the ugly drains. I know they're ugly, but they serve a purpose right now, Geneva,
Really good
okay?
purpose.
So these drains are in the backyards of every single one of the units, okay? All over. So because of that, it did cost us, how much? 40? I have it.
Let me say all these numbers.
We have got a lot here.
Here it is, 41,160.
Okay, and so if we take away 20,114 out of the 41, there's about a $21,000 added adjustment that we had to add to fix it. So it's all done now, it's working fine, there is no problems, with the exception of sometimes the grass going over it, but he's working on taking care of that.
Well, when the grass goes over it, especially if there's the rocks there.
Well,
It's not rooting anyway, so it just dies off.
It dies off.
Yeah.
He's done that already over behind my building.
Yeah, that's what's
And
happening.
he's doing it for building 5, because building 5, it's wonderful. Building 4 and 5, all the sun, they get the sun. The grass is looking great there. Okay, so of course, they're getting a lot more grass on top of the stone. So
Okay.
now, I went around with him and his guys, and now they're gonna be spraying all the time around there. And the stones are staying. because-
started spreading.
Yeah, the stones are safe. So needless to say, that is what happened with the drainage overflow, okay? Now,
Rose Ridge, you mean?
yes. Now, the December payment to TerraCare, someone questioned that. His contract is still $3,350 per month for maintenance. It will be that way even for next year. He said for 3 years he's not gonna raise us. $680 was for the River Rock for buildings 7 through 9. And That was separate. $280.55 was for irrigation repairs. Now, we had a lot of irrigation repairs due to the fact when you're in construction and they're all working, they're breaking the drip lines, they're cutting them, there's problems, and we had to always get them back here to fix it. Now, the whole front of the buildings, with the exceptions of where our little areas are, where the end units only at the top have drip lines. Everything else, from looking at the place, all your shrubs have sprinkler heads now. We took out all the drip lines. They're not there anymore. They're gone. And it's working perfect right now. We have some areas that when the guys took the grass out because it was dead and put new grass, they didn't cut it to make sure that the heads can come up so they weren't getting any water. So I'm working this out with TerraCare right now. It's, what can I say? It happens.
But there's no extra charge, right?
There's no extra
They're
charge.
replacing it,
And
there's no
if
extra
we,
charge.
and we're not, even for the grass, it's under warranty. Whatever doesn't work, if it dies, it's gonna be replaced at no charge. No charge whatsoever. Okay, landscape enhancements. Okay, we approved 21,000, what was the amount there? On our budget. I don't have the
It
original.
was 21 and change.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't have the original, but we have to approve, ladies, we have to approve $7,224.40 because we've already approved the 21,000, but it came out to $28,659.40. And that was due to the fact that we needed more sod than we anticipated, a lot more. So I make a motion that we accept and vote for $7,224.40. Do I get a second?
Second.
Kathy seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we talked about this already. The enhancements were funded from the overage balance in the operating. We already talked about that. Okay.
How much was the overage, if you don't mind?
$36,641.30.
Okay.
Irrigation invoices have been less than $1,000, which gives me the right as a president to approve this online because it's less than $1,000.
Yes.
Okay, so most of them have been coming in at $887 for each person doing it building by building for irrigation. But the grand total is $4,487. If you have to look it up, that's what it is.
May I point out something real quick? The board had a resolution that the board president can approve $1,000 in emergency situations only.
Okay, well.
Don't you consider irrigation to be an emergency?
No.
Oh, but we got a bunch of new sod down? Are we gonna lose all the sod
But
because
you
we don't have the
you have
irrigation?
to still approve.
Well, okay, I don't want to, number one, we're still having our meeting,
Right.
unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
But it's
we never
just-
did this to you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Are you serious?
Well, that's just some
Okay,
people.
tit for
Okay.
tat doesn't work, let's continue
Yeah,
on.
okay, I'm
I
gonna
agree.
continue.
This is-
Okay. The ACC, to approve extensive landscaping. I'm gonna take this one, because the ACC is not needed to approve extensive landscaping. I'm so sorry about that, but that's the board has the right to oversee the ACC, therefore the board made that approval. Not the ACC. We overrode whatever because it's considered, an ACC is when one homeowner says, I need to have a keypad, or I need to do this. It's one homeowner. It's not the entire community. And for the benefit of the entire community, we as the board have the right to approve something that we felt is consistent. Everybody's got the same thing. There is no jasmine. We didn't need the jasmine. The jasmine didn't work. And the past president knew this when we did this back in 2021. We did a test run of putting in the articolas and the giants, and they worked really well. And they're thriving right now. So we as the board decided that we were going to do it for the benefit of the community, to make sure that everybody had the same thing, no one has anything different, and no one can complain. The same thing with the backyards. The reason we put pavers in the backyards is because all of the pavers in the front that were broken, we had to use the backyard pavers because they didn't have any of those old ones anymore. So that we had to use what we had. And that's why we got all new ones for the backyards. So, removal of the thriving, well, I just answered that because they weren't really thriving throughout. It was just certain areas. Installation of smidgens of grass. Okay, that's the reason. If I was going to be doing a circle here and not having grass in the front, and then another area would just have all the mulch, and then all the mulch goes and it hits the curb and it goes down into the catch basin, and there's your mulch goes. So we decided as a board that when we did the landscape, we did the proposal for that, and I have it if anybody wants to see it. I'll show it to you. In fact, they have it as well, the management company. But that there was a reason for us putting the grass in the front and being consistent. So that's why you see the smudges there. In some areas, we could not do it because there was cement there from the pavers. There was so much cement in there that we couldn't put grass there. Okay. Okay, so I'm done with that. So that's delinquency report.
Okay, wait a minute, we have some approving invoices.
Oh, yes, we do. We need to approve invoice 7369 for 5582 additional sod that we put in. I make a motion that we accept it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we also have to approve mulch. Approve estimate 224 for $4,500. This is costing us half the amount of last year's because we're not going to be using as much because we have grass now. So, I make a motion that we accept $4,500 so he could start and put that down and we could finish this project entirely. Do I get a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Sign this one, please. That's the estimate. Thank you.
What about the other one?
No, that's an invoice.
Okay.
The estimate I'll send over to him when that's approved.
No problem. The delinquency report. It was reviewed at the October meeting, but there was one delinquency and a member of the board spoke to the owner and rectified that issue. Now, delinquency reports are not going to be privy to everybody because it's personal. If somebody has a problem, if I had a problem, I wouldn't want anybody looking at mine if I had a problem at a bad
Absolutely.
time. It's just personal. Am I correct in saying that you're the attorney?
That's, most associations handle it that way.
Okay. So I just want to make sure that everybody realizes no one should be getting a delinquency report. Okay, project issues. Now I know this is on me. Okay, the entire progression of the projects was explained to the owners at a person-to-person, in-person meeting that we had with the 3 vendors back on 8/7/2022. I know the homeowners were inconvenienced. Definitely, I agree. You were, I was, everybody was. But we did arrange for parking with TCC. And everybody knew this because it was communicated through one source. that you could park there. Now, I know we had a worse area in Congressional because we had the hurricanes. So we had a lot of cars parked there in the cul-de-sac. But when I went over to Corkery, there were a lot of people there that were upset because they were parking in the Corkery cul-de-sac, which really they shouldn't have been because it's a smaller area. They should have been parking over either in TCC at the Tuscawilla Country Club, or they should have been parking over at the Congressional one because there was nothing over that way at that time. They were already done with that area. So I know, I apologize, but there was nothing you can do when you have construction. It's over and done with now. So that's all I can tell you. I'm just sorry that you were inconvenienced. And another note, and I have to say this because I don't think homeowners realize that when I was getting vendors to give us prices, I was having a hard time getting people because they were looking up and they saw that we had a litigation and they were afraid to go with us. 2 people said we were too big. Big? I looked at him like to say, you gotta be kidding me. Big, this is a small community. We were too big because they didn't want to do the job, okay? And the paver guy, one paver guy didn't even want to give us sand and sealing. So I had an awful time getting a paver guy. And yes, I agree, this guy from a 1 to 10, I'd give him a 6. I wouldn't give him a 10. He's not the greatest, he's not perfect, but that's what we have.
He did the job.
And he did the
showed
job,
up.
and he showed up, and he has come back, and I'm anticipating, I hope, he keeps telling me, April 1st, which is this Saturday, or April 8th. He keeps saying, Donna, I know, I will be back. I have problems with my truck. Every excuse in the book, I understand that. But that's what it is, okay? I am trying to get him out here. He does have to finish up, and he knows that. Okay,
Did we pay him?
we paid him.
But it's all
Yes.
under warranty as well.
We paid
So,
him.
you know, he has a responsibility. It's there, it's in the contract.
Okay, the gutters, the pavers, and the drainage, okay. I talked about the existing boxes. Okay, paint issue for building 5. Okay, a homeowner in building 5 sent us a work order. And in that work order, she stated that there was a Sherman-Williams, it was under warranty. Okay. I looked around at all the other buildings. I didn't see any other problems with any other buildings. So how do I know for sure that was a warranty issue? So what happened was I got Brenda to have the handyman go out there. He primed it, took it all off, primed it, and painted it. So maybe, for some apparent reason, maybe the painter didn't prime it, and maybe that one wasn't primed, and all the others were. I don't have an explanation. All I can tell you is that no one else had a problem. No one else came to the HOA, to me, or to Brenda, the management company, to tell us, except for one homeowner. So we did fix it, and it's done. Okay. Now we're up to the termination of Vista. Okay. Back in February 2022, it was just me and Jane on the board, and then we were lucky. Dale decided she was going to come on the board. Okay. We had Julie from Vista. Julie was wonderful. She knew what she was doing. A wonderful Pam. Julie stayed with us for about 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden Julie says, Donna, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I'm leaving Vista. Okay. So now I call up the owner of Vista, and I asked her, okay, who are we getting now? All right? Now I was getting a little nervous because she wasn't the only one leaving. There were 2 other people that were leaving as well. So now we had to get Carol. So we had Carol Burnett for 3 weeks. She didn't last. She was gone. Then, nope, she was gone. She didn't know what she was doing. She was gone. Then we had Neil. Well, he was the IT guy who was supposed to be in charge, a cam guy now. Now he's in charge of the cams, but he was an IT person. So he had no idea. And what really upset me was the fact that the one meeting that we had and he gave the wrong information. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to embarrass him in front of the homeowners at the time, but I did say, give me a call when you get off the phone. When we finish this meeting, you need to correct it. And he made a correction. There was a $9,000 invoice problem that he did, and he rectified it the following month. Okay. Then after we had Neil, we had Rob. Rob was a real nice guy. He tried so hard, but Rob, he did landscaping.
He'd been on the board of his previous HOA or something, right? But that was his resume for being hired as a
Yeah.
cam.
So, unfortunately, we had 4 camps in 4 months, and they weren't doing the job that Julie was doing, period.
Right.
Okay, so they had no idea what they were doing. Then, at this point, we had to terminate them. And I admit they didn't pay the $11,600 that they should have paid at our meeting because they weren't finished until August. So June is way before August. And not only that, they didn't even, the claim for the accident, no one, all they did was get a claim number and give it to me, but nobody ever went and followed up on it.
Well, and during the changeover, they couldn't be,
They
weren't
didn't
terribly
send-
helpful, let's put it that way.
They didn't send the paperwork.
Right.
All they did was get a claim. They didn't send the pictures.
And this was after your
nothing.
conversation with the
After-
owner, and she had promised
Yeah.
that she would make the changeover as
Right.
easy as she possibly could, and she did not.
Tina wanted to do our community by herself. I said, no, this is crazy. You're the owner. No. So I told her we're giving her notice, and we terminated her. But I gave her I was kind because she is a friend. And it's sad that I had to do that, but I did explain to her the reason, and she understood why we had to let them go. Okay? All right. Now we're going to go to Kathy. ACC.
I look back, we've had no request for ARC changes or anything like that in over a year. I don't think, and I looked in the requirements, it's not necessary for us to have the ACC.
Yes, it is.
So no, it's not.
It's in the document.
The document says that while it was still under the builder, it was required. The next thing that said was that the board had a right to vote or to appoint an ACC or not.
Right. A committee, and they did. They had a committee.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that they're necessary at this point. The board can do everything that the ACC has done.
So now we have to, as a board, we have to make a decision. Do we want to keep the ACC?
What does HOA
Committee.
Excuse me,
council
you're
say?
interrupting again, Monica. Could you please
But
wait?
this is really frustrating because what does
Well,
HOA
you
council
know what?
say? You all are not lawyers.
It is not your turn to speak right now, so could you please wait?
Please.
I
Okay.
would like to hear from HOA council on this point, please.
Well, the council, at this
Yes.
point, we're gonna do our first, we're gonna do it, and then you can talk to him about that, all right?
I'm not
Okay.
talking to him, the board needs to advise the board if this is correct or not, based on our document.
We, as a board, can be the ACC and the board at the same time. It's
Yes,
in
you
our
can, you can hold
ACC.
that position,
That's
yes, you
right.
can,
That's
but you
what I'm
cannot
talking about.
eliminate the ACC.
Then we are, no, we're not eliminating, I think what she meant to say is, we're eliminating the committee. We don't
You
need,
cannot eliminate the ACC committee.
I could,
can you please?
yeah, I haven't looked specifically at the documents. Many associations do have the option or not of having an architectural review.
No, not.
And in all cases, the architectural review, 99 times out of 100, serves at the pleasure of the board.
Yes,
That is
that's correct.
But it does not necessarily mean that the architectural review committee must be in existence if the board takes over that role.
It does.
I haven't read these documents, and I'd be happy to go through them,
Okay,
but that's generally how it works.
okay. Well, we're gonna make a decision tonight, and
Or
I
we can
may.
table it until.
No, I'm not gonna table it. I'm making a decision tonight because I don't mean to say this, but the board and the ACC should be working together. We are a community and we should be working together with each other. And unfortunately, that has not happened.
Okay, excuse me, Donna,
So-
I know I can't interrupt the
Wait,
meeting. Wait, but I am on the ACC, the others aren't here. I have no problem working with the board. I need to defend myself. I did what I do for the community. We have not been recognized, and I spoke to Brenda about this, at all by this board or approached. So therefore, I don't have any problem with the board taking over. I really don't. But you know what I have a problem with, and I will have it sit in front of Mr. Stone, is the dissension that we're causing in the community. Donna, just give me 1 minute. I have no problem with you doing it. I am doing it so that our community properties didn't go down. Now, we have not, Kathy, you're right, received anything. But I do know, and this is, I'm not policing the neighborhood because I don't do that. Doorbells have been put up, flagpoles have been, or garage door openers, window tinting has been done. We never got applications for those, even though we have rules and that. So if we don't get an application, we can't ask the board for a meeting. But you have not approached me, or I'm not the committee chairman, she's in California, but you have not recognized the ACC since this board came on. That's your choice, and I have no
There was
problem
nothing
with
to-
this.
but what I'm saying to you is-
But I understand. I have no problem, but I want to say.
If the management company does not get a work order or something stating that an ARC saying that they want to do something in their home, then there is nothing to go to the ACC.
I understand, but
Okay?
how do we,
So-
if you know something's happening,
How do we know it?
I
The
don't
only
know.
way we're gonna be able to know it, and I told Brenda, is she's gonna have to go out there and every single homeowner, see who was approved
Yes.
and who did it, and those that weren't are gonna get a violation because they should have gone through, and then they're gonna have to go through
And that's
an
my, that was my
ACC.
point, but I don't object to you taking over, but I'm just saying, with the way you stated it, it offended me, okay? No, I'm sorry, it would offend anybody, because we're trying to work as a community, but if you think that we don't need another committee, that's fine.
Well, the last time, as I understand it, the last time that there was a violation, it was brought to the board's attention by Pat Moore, and nothing was done about it.
I don't know about what
There
you're
were at
talking
least
about.
3 violations issued to a particular person. Pat brought it to our attention, and nothing was done
But
about it.
I don't do the
ACC
violations.
doesn't
I
do
don't do the
violations.
violations,
No,
Jane.
they, I understand,
That's
and
a-
I don't wanna get into this because I know the ACC doesn't, but the ACC lived across the street from the person that did the violations, and none of them called up the management company to tell the management company.
And I
So-
was away all summer when it was out there.
I understand, no one's pinning anything on
But
you,
I know
Chris.
that.
I
doesn't
understand. That's why I didn't wanna get into this. We are having a meeting, we are not finished with our meeting yet. When we have an open forum, you can then open your questions at that time. Sorry, I have to take over the meeting now. Okay, new business. Okay, request for records vote. Did everybody look at that?
Yes.
I would table it. I would table it so I can review it. I mean,
Well, that's why I didn't make a motion. I'm moving it on. We're
Right.
tabling it.
Okay.
But next month, it'll be definitely looked at. So, okay, records request rules. We're gonna have rules and regulations, and we did have council look this over. And we are gonna post this on the portal, so if you'd like to read it, I'll give it to you because it pertains to you.
The records request rules. Number 1, all requested records not available on the portal must be sent to the association at its management company's office via certified mail. Number 2, management
That's not allowed.
Management company will respond to the owner via email to schedule an appointment to inspect the requested records within 10 days of receipt. Per Florida statute, each owner is entitled to inspect the official records of the association for no more than 1 8-hour business day per month. Records will be provided in a digital format unless requested otherwise. It's the one you emailed me. Jump drive is also to be provided by the owner. Number 5, the association may impose fees up to $20 per hour to cover the cost of providing copies of the official records, including the costs required for personnel of the official records.
You can't do that.
If the time spent retrieving and copying the records exceed 1/2 hour. Personnel costs will not be charged for record requests that result in the copying of 25 or fewer pages. The association may charge up to 25 cents per page for copies made on the association's photocopier, which would be mine.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion. Council, look this over and you can look at it now.
Yeah, and just so everybody's here,
He provided that to me.
yeah, records request, this records request basically mirrors under 720, the Florida statute. There's a whole section that talks about.
Where does it say?
It's in our documents about certified mail.
Where
It is
certified?
right, and it says that it's a
How
certified
would
letter.
It doesn't, that certified letter relates to the association being fined if it doesn't provide.
Right.
It doesn't relate to the request.
Right,
The
but the-
request is in writing, it doesn't say it has to be certified.
I
mail.
understand that, but the statute also allows the association to make
No, not
reasonable
that.
rules and.
Reasonable.
Reasonable, this is not.
Right,
possible.
and let me,
Oh my God.
you're not the first, many associations do this, and the reason they do it is it's because it's a timing issue. So let's say Brenda's on vacation and you send her an email and she doesn't get it until she gets back, now the association is 10 days out. And many times requests are sent via email and it's not clear in the request whether or not is in fact a request for official records. So the associations, many associations require or pass rules that say, look, if we're going to make this right, if there's a timeline here, a 10-day timeline, and owners want records, then we got to make sure that we get it to them in a timely fashion. And one way you do that is by sending certified mail. And the reason you do that is because there's an actual record of when the association receives the certified mail, and then that's when the clock starts. So it's not because it's actually a benefit to the owners versus a benefit to the association, because one, now you've established a timeline as an owner as to when you get your documents, and two, if the association doesn't provide those documents, now you have a reasonable presumption under the statute that they have failed to give you your documents. This is an owner benefit. This is not the association trying to, shirk its responsibility from getting records to the owners. It's in fact the other way around. It's to hold the association accountable.
This is simple, right? As long as we get accurate monthly financials, nobody has to go look at it. That's all we ask. And how long has it been? That's not an unreasonable request. It's all our money too, right? We just want to make sure.
But
it's-
we've had some issues, Ray. 2 management companies in 1 year, there are issues. And that's why we have the CPA and his firm looking it over because there were issues.
I understand.
So
We're talking
we
about-
can't help that. Overall, that's the problem. Otherwise, she would have had it up there. We have to get this rectified, and that's what they're doing. That's why Joe is staying on the line for any questions
But
after
you
the
can
fact.
understand, it's been 6 months and we've had all this activity going on, and it's like, where's the money coming from? That's all we want to know. I think that's all these folks want to know is, where's the money coming from? Because it's all our money too, right?
Totally understand. I
So that's all
totally
we're
agree
looking
and
for.
understand, and I'll reply to that.
Because I'm
And
sure
say-
nobody wants to come and sit in your office and dig through.
Well, actually,
It
I'm a
wasn't
little
right.
nicer than that. I have everything ready electronically, and you bring a jump drive, and I load it for you, and you can go home and go through it. But there's only been one person that has asked for records, and I have provided everything that they have requested. Bank statements, check, general ledgers, everything. There's only one person. Yes, there is an issue with the transition. There are some errors that Vista made on that balance sheet that I inherited, and then I made it worse. I'm not even gonna lie, I made it worse. I listened to the suggestions of other owners in the company or in the community, and I will not do that anymore. If I have a question, I'm going straight to the CPA, and whatever he tells me to do is what I'm going to do. Because I have been steered around a roller coaster trying to get those financials right for you. I really have. And I'm at the point now where, and I'm just explaining the situation.
I'm sorry.
That's why, I'm not done, Monica, please, I'm not
I'm
done.
sorry. I just take.
No,
example-
I'm not done.
Sorry.
You make this impossible.
I
Let
just-
her
let's-
explain.
let's-
So that's where it is. Do I like providing reports that?
Stop over talking people, give everybody a chance.
Excuse me?
No, excuse me.
Don't get
Okay,
unsafe.
I think next time we have a meeting, I'm bringing a police officer in here. I'm not kidding around. I'm gonna have a police officer. If this is what's gonna go on, this is not right.
Adults, act like adults.
I mean, we have an attorney here, a CPA here. This is crazy.
Yeah, well, it was a nice community, except for what I'm hearing now.
Excuse me, Monica, your disrespect to our
Tell her to
homeowners,
stop.
your disrespect to Jeff and to Brenda is unbelievable. As somebody who has been a past president,
You say something to me, you'll be sorry.
oh yeah?
Yeah, it's, oh, go ahead, it's community problem. It's community problem.
Time out.
Come on.
Guys, the board's gonna have to adjourn. If we
Yes.
cannot have order in the community.
Who do you think you are?
This has got to stop, really.
I'm gonna recommend that the board adjourn the meeting unless the order can be established.
Guys, please.
Wow,
What a group.
okay. I make a motion that we put this into place. Do I get a second?
You do.
All in favor? Aye. So make sure I have the motion, you second it.
Okay.
That's done. Okay.
Are we almost done? We'd have been done a lot sooner without all the interruptions.
Okay. All right, now, I'm gonna make it open forum, Joe. You're gonna have questions, but I do have someone who's going to do 3 minutes only. That's what we're doing, because I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of questions. So they're only entitled to 3 minutes according to our attorney. Per agenda item, per item, 3 minutes. So I have
There's
Kathy.
somebody on the list.
Yeah, I don't know who those people are who would like to. 2 people. Ray, if he still wants to ask questions.
No, I got my question answered already. Joe said we're gonna have financials by the weekend, right? And we're in agreement that we
Okay.
gotta get them squared away.
Totally agree, sir.
And all I wanna do is track the budget, budget to actuals and see where we are. I wanna see where the reserves are.
No problem, sir.
And that we stay in compliance with our reserve study, right? That's all I'm looking for. It's not
Okay.
that complicated.
Okay.
Completely understand.
So you have no questions for Joe?
Nope.
None whatsoever? Okay. All right. Chris?
I just wanted to know, since Mr. Stone's here, I didn't realize he'd be here, did he file I have 2 questions. Did he file with the clerk for the hearing because of the default judgment?
Yes, well, part of I think that's when I spoke, I think with Brenda or
Me.
with you, Donna, the board was gonna vote whether or not to proceed, spend more money on the basis of, well, just to give a quick summary, there's one last defendant in your big lawsuit when I came on board that was in default. There's a motion for default filed against that owner, against that contractor. The issue the board's wrestling with is that contractor doesn't have any insurance. He's not insured. Their insurance company denied insurance. So really what the association then, or the board then has to kind of grapple with is, are we gonna spend more money going after this particular company? And I don't know how big the company is, and that's investigative work that's gonna have to be done, and whether or not they have any assets to pay what the association is alleging they owe, which in this case is, I think, what was it, just over 100
Yeah.
for the repairs? So we'd be looking at over 100,000. And if we get the judgment and we move forward and spend attorney's fees and costs to get the judgment, then we have to spend more attorney's fees to try and collect that judgment. And those attorney's fees and costs aren't recoverable against that owner because it's post-judgment attorney's fees. So then, is the board, wanting to roll the dice and throw good money after bad money to try and get this done, or do they want to, you know, kind of stem the flow, the payment of attorney's fees and costs, because I know you guys just wrote an $11,600 check to Becker. And so that's really where we are.
Well, then my question would be then, we had filed, the judge already ruled a default against them.
Right.
And because I was on the board.
Yeah.
Okay, and then my question is then how do we close out? If you
Or you're
decide-
saying the board still needs to vote on that?
Yeah,
We already
Close it
have,
out.
we already voted, you voted for him because we read the letter. You voted that you wanted to go forward with that and proceed with the hearing, because that's the letter you
Right.
sent to us. So my question is, have you filed for the hearing? And you're saying because of that, but the judge, from what I understand, has to rule.
Yeah, so
that
there's
this
got,
is-
yeah.
We
you're
have to
correct.
finish it out
Well-
some way. If you're not gonna go after the company, don't you have to close?
Yeah, what you do is you would file a voluntary dismissal in the lawsuit.
Okay, well, I guess that's what
But
I'm.
you're correct, you'd have to have a hearing, and part of the hearing is because, you know, we were gonna go forward with the hearing, and I said, well, Donna, now that you got the association's, has finished its repairs, we're gonna, you know, we want testimony at the hearing, so we wanna have the guy come and testify, 7 and 7, I think was the company's name. And so it's gonna be a hearing, and that hearing's gonna cost, you know, it's gonna cost a lot of
It's
money.
gonna cost us a great deal of money.
So, and I just wanted, you know, before I did, now, there are hearing dates, and so if the board decides, there are hearing dates, I check with the judge. They're at the end of May, June, in there. He has available hearing dates, so it's up to the board if you guys want to.
Well, that's what I'm asking. I
To
guess
try.
you have to make a decision
Yeah.
whether we're going to close it or whatever, because keeping it on the books, so like Donna had mentioned, not getting vendors, they see a lawsuit still. And
That's
technically-
exactly what
and
happened.
Technically, realtors are supposed to still say we are in a lawsuit. So I would like to see it off the books if you're not going to pursue a hearing, but that's, okay, that's another issue. Second one, how do we get, for insurance is a big question, how do we get a certificate from the new black belt for having our sprinkler system? Because we're going to switch insurance companies and they're going to want to see
Yes.
a certificate for a discount.
I have already reached out to Craig at Black Belt. I was able to get one for an owner who had already requested it. I did email him and request a process, meaning what is your process here at Black Belt? Who should they contact? And I'm waiting on that answer,
Okay.
and then I'll put that on the portal.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I have.
I've got a question. Do they have to do that for each individual unit? Or
Yes.
They do?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
If you want to, you have to do it, yeah.
Yes, so
Yeah.
that's why I'll find out who the person's gonna be issuing those certificates
Mhm.
and put that on the portal for you so that as you need them, you can go on and do it.
Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else off the floor that would like to, okay, Pat?
With ACC, I understand Chris's concern, and I also understand that we don't have that many requests that for the board to do it would also make sense. So, you know, I'm either way on that. I think the only thing I have a concern about is when we've not had any meeting in a year, have we not had anyone to put in a doorbell, a flagpole holder, or a tinted window, any of the other things that we require? Because somebody could say, oh yeah, we allow that, go ahead, no problem. Well, we might have somebody put a flagpole holder on, say, on an end unit like mine by the front door, or above their garage door. Or they may put the keypad holder where we have it on the inside portion there of that white by our garage door, on the front. So,
Well,
you
that's
know,
a violation.
It is.
Brenda does the violations.
I understand, I'm not finished.
Okay, sorry.
I understand that that is a violation. So that's my concern, is to see that we keep that up. But, and this is just a suggestion, because I know residents forget, we've had new residents, is perhaps just send out a little notice and say, you know, hey, we just want to remind you, these things do have to go through ACC. If you have added something in the past year, please put in your request so this can
It's
be.
a good idea, Pat.
And
Are you gonna do that?
Yeah.
Send that out to us?
And I'll attach the
Any kind of
ACC
estoppel, yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody that comes through new answer this way, they know. Also to let them know, send them the rules that they're not supposed to be putting pots out there on the pavers, and, because they're only gonna get a violation anyway. So at least they know they're not supposed to do that, and then it's a good idea, Pat, thank you. Anybody else?
Did you say I can't grow my pot behind my?
No.
I thought we had to light the mood over there.
Ray, only if you share.
I was gonna say, what's your house number?
Keep it warm, keep it warm.
Isn't there a medical exception for that?
Bob was
We do
complaining
have
about
one
his
question.
eye.
So in meetings, I think once before, we talked about doing business via email, right?
What do you mean by doing business?
Like, all the back and forth conversations that you have when you're on the board. You guys are talking about money, right? Hey, should we get another bid for this or whatever?
We don't do business, we don't do that via email, no. Nothing's ever done via
So,
email.
I guess my question is, how do you guys do business then if you're not doing it via email?
On the portal, she
We
puts
haven't
it out.
been, we
And
haven't done
business.
anything except for the
So I
project.
guess my
Except for the
question
projects,
is,
basically.
in lieu of meetings,
Uh-huh.
in lieu of constant meetings, don't you have conversations via email?
No,
We have conversations in person where we can, and we do them as just like Donna will come to me with something that's going on, and then maybe
Right.
she'll go to Jill with what's going on.
I don't have
She
everybody
individually
together.
talks to
That's
us
how
and
it's done.
informs us about what's going on.
Right, it's not via email. No, nothing's ever email. If I have something on the agenda and we have to get through it, I find out, oh gee, we have a lot of the, let's just say, the vendors, we have some issues with the vendors. I will go to one. I will never have two or three.
Right.
So I will go to one and I'll go over it, and then I'll do maybe her the next time, and then get her the next time, and get Jill the next time. So this way we all know what's happening, okay?
So like these additional costs and stuff for the
Right.
sod and stuff, that's
Right,
kind of how.
that's how it was working, yes.
So we have lots of phone calls. We don't tend
In
to
other
do
words,
lots of emails.
I want to just make sure
They understand.
that the board, this is what I have advised, is the board only make decisions at board meetings.
Okay,
We-
for now on.
promotions. I mean, it's, look, if Donna, you want to say, hey Brenda, look, we need to put X and Y on the agenda, like, you gotta do, those conversations have to happen. But as long as the votes are taking place at board meetings, then, that's what I'm comfortable with, that's what I recommend.
Okay.
And as far as I know, you guys don't vote via email, you don't
No,
vote in
we
person,
don't,
you only vote
no.
at board meetings, so.
I think we only
that's
ever
good.
had one thing that was done, and that was the emergency thing for insurance, wasn't it?
Yes.
Didn't we have to vote that because it was like, we had like a day or something it had to be done. And I think that's the only thing we ever did by email.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about expenses and stuff. I know, we were having,
Yeah.
when we were doing it, it was like, gosh, we have to have a meeting every month because we have to make sure we approve the expenses. So without having meetings, how are the expenses?
Okay, that's
being approved?
something that Brenda will explain to you, how they do that in her management company. Explain the
Well,
expenses that we get
the
on the
bills
board.
that come
Right,
every month,
Right.
like our water bill,
Right.
electric bill, all that stuff, that goes directly to her, and she makes the payment. We don't have to have a special meeting
Right.
to approve a water bill.
Right.
No, understood, but she's talking about like atypical events, right?
Okay.
Like we're
When-
talking,
Like it's overages.
Well,
That's
then
what
we have our
just approved
meetings.
right now. We just had some
we
approvals
just
of
had,
stuff just
we
now
had
in
a
the
few
meeting.
things that we approved today.
oh, okay, so we haven't had any since October,
No,
since our last meeting.
no,
No.
no.
No, we haven't. We
That's
got the
good.
Old Testament, and that's been it.
I'm sorry?
That can be a good thing, if you don't
No,
have,
no,
if you
no.
don't have, it tends to mean everything's running smoothly, but
It is, so far.
Because if you recall in the holidays, we were trying to get the projects done and all of that. And then, of course, then the holidays came, so there was no board business done. We did receive the estimate for the mulch,
Yes.
and then we just voted on it today. In fact, the mulch estimate is actually dated,
323, I think, wasn't it?
no, it was dated February 21st.
Okay.
So we haven't done anything.
And the mulch.
Because then we did the annual meeting and then we did this, so I can assure you, no, nothing else has been done. But as far as the bills, the contractual bills,
Yeah, those just go right through.
and I pay those, but anything else, I upload to the portal for approval. Like if we get, when we get an attorney bill, I upload that, they all review it, and then if I get a majority,
Right.
then it's,
So that doesn't, I thought that had to go through a meeting,
Yeah.
because you can't do, you can't approve those things
You can't vote
electronically.
by email or approve like that.
Not an
Yeah.
email.
not choose an email.
It doesn't matter, it can't go through a portal, it can't be done electronically, it has to be done at a meeting,
Yeah.
Right, Dylan?
per 720.
I'm not sure what the amounts are, but, and you mentioned, Donna, is there a provision or board rule about under $1,000?
Anything under $1,000,
I know my bills have been pretty light.
They have. They've been hundreds, not thousands.
Yeah.
So I do have a question about that too, the $1,000, because I know we voted that in when we were on the board. And that was specifically for emergency purposes. So what you're talking about, like your fee or whatever, the lawyer's fee is not.
That's
considered.
not, but
Right.
the irrigation
Right,
is.
irrigation,
I'm
right.
sorry.
Because we were gonna lose
Because
lots
we
of
would
sod.
lose water
Yeah,
and
makes
we
sense.
would lose sod, so that's considered an
Right,
emergency.
but here Brenda was just talking about the attorney's fees.
Well, we,
So,
first of all, he hasn't sent so many bills anyway.
right, but
And
it's
we
just,
approved
it's
it
the process.
the last time that we had it,
Yeah.
when he would, yes, and he will be sending us a bill for tonight as well.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's,
So
I'm
we'll
just
check.
asking about the process going forward and making sure that, like,
Well, the
I think-
process going forward is, we will, just like he just advised us to do, we will start doing invoices, the items that we have, but we're not gonna be doing too much anymore because there's nothing more to do.
Right, thank goodness.
So in reality,
And then if I could just add, usually like on attorney stuff, so the board will approve the attorney to research something. We want an opinion letter on this, and then when the bill comes in,
Right.
Brenda will just pay the bill. You don't need to approve the bill because you've already approved the work to be
Exactly.
done
Okay.
beforehand.
Okay.
You know
They're
what-
saying they want the
You-
bill
No,
approved in
no,
the meeting.
no, because you approved it in the meeting. Right, I agree with.
For the research.
Yeah.
Right, you approved it, so you knew that there was gonna be an invoice
Okay.
coming, but the work has to be approved in a meeting, is all they're saying.
Yeah, that's usually how it
Yeah.
works.
okay, any other questions?
So can I just ask, how, if the landscaping enhancements were 21,000 and it went to 28, when did you put the 8,000 or 7,000 over?
We just approved it tonight.
You approved it, but are those plants already in?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how
So
did,
who approved that?
I don't know, I mean, this, I don't understand. You're approving it tonight, so to me, it wouldn't be that the work wasn't done. You know, you went ahead and contracted for $28,000.
So are you
That's what you
suggesting
did.
that we should have left half the community without
No, we're
plants?
just asking.
No, Jane.
So I mean, it's kind of like it had to be done.
No,
That's
Jane, I'm
the way-
looking at, like Carol's, I'm looking at, we have a
Process
at the
going
process,
forward.
at the process,
Going
because the
forward.
way I understood it, Mr. Stone, that the 21,000 and there was 28, so if they're moving forward with the 28,000 and it hasn't been approved,
Well, 21,000
was.
was, so we're talking 7,000
That's what
that
I'm saying.
wasn't.
We're talking
So what we should have done was left the ones that we didn't have the money for, and then wait for a meeting,
No,
and then do it.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying that you're saying one thing, but you did another.
I think we need to,
Well, I mean, you know, I
It's
I
a
believe you guys did
circumstance.
approve a contract for.
Yes, we did.
In other words, you approved, we gotta fix it.
And everyone in the community
Yeah, but
has
you approved the
heard
number,
from
Mr. Stone.
Well, I understand, but are we talking about the drainage, like the
that's what
pop-ups?
they're talking
No,
about.
I'm talking about I'm talking
The
about
enhancements.
the enhancements, it was not in the project, it was an
Oh,
operating.
I thought you guys were talking about the
It was in the
pop-ups.
operating income, a budget approval of 21,000, and then it went to 28,000.
It was $7,000.
And there was a 7,000, I'm just asking the process, with following her question. I'm not saying you should have, I don't know how much it was 7,000 versus you put in 20, I don't know what part was left out. But who approved to go ahead with that? And whether or not we had the money or not, we haven't seen the financials.
He
or
didn't
heard
send
them.
us the bill until now. He hasn't been paid for it yet.
I don't know that.
I understand, it was approved for 21,000, okay?
Who approved
The
the
se- We did, the additional one was approved tonight.
Oh, no, I know,
Because it's
but
mon-
the work was done before you approved it.
Okay, the work was done, it was automatically done, yes. We all decided as a board that we needed to get it done.
But
We
you
didn't
have
want
that at a meeting.
Was there not a decision from the community in general that this work needed to be done
No,
once
we
the
were not
lawsuit
talking
was
about that.
completed?
Yeah, I think it's just,
I
I
mean,
think
this
it's the
is
fact
just-
that
special.
We haven't seen any of the financials. I mean,
This is all about the financials.
it is absolutely.
So it's not about the project.
No.
You don't have a problem right now. I just want to get this straight. You have no problem with your gutters. You have no problem
Right,
with.
and we can't go there
I-
because it's not the same, it's apples and oranges.
Okay.
So I'm talking about the process and the fact that we don't even know how much money we have.
Okay.
And we
The thing
spend
is,
another
we just don't
And
know where the
Brenda
extra
has
dollars
already,
are coming
Brenda
from.
has already
Explained it. How
explained
many times
what
have
is
you
going to
explained
happen.
it?
I mean, basically what this seems to come down to is that you are not trusting any of us to make any of the
It
decisions
doesn't
that
have
we're
about
making.
that. It's
But it
about-
kind of is.
No,
It kind of is.
I don't know.
Brenda has explained what's going to happen,
When
so
I
why
can't
is
see
it
the
still an
details
issue?
in my own checkbook, I don't keep writing checks.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's my.
Okay, I
I
don't
don't
think.
I have to divert this to you, Joe, because you're our CPA. Right now, is there money in the kilt? Do we have money right now?
Well, we do our work at December 31st, so that's the only point
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
that I can make. Well, looking at your balance sheet, you have a total of $103,000 in cash. 20 of it is operating. So
That's
not a whole lot with an association that has a budget of over $200,000 a year. So, I really have to have all your financial information to be able to give you a good answer.
Okay, well, that's why I'm asking you, because we're not CPAs. There might be one CPA here,
Yeah,
it
there
doesn't
is.
matter.
No, not me. I'm not one. Are you?
No,
She's
My
an
wife
accountant.
is,
She's
but
an
she don't come to
accountant.
these.
She's an accountant.
He's a master.
I'm an account too,
there.
though. No, there is no
If there's a
CPA. No,
CPA,
you're it.
I need another CPA.
Oh, well, we'll get Rebecca. But can I ask you, Joe?
Sure.
Oh,
The 103 you quoted, is that reserves and operating?
Yeah, that's total
Okay,
cash
okay.
at December 31st.
Okay, thank you. So at operating, what we have is like 20,000, so that's
Right.
a low balance in my book, because when I was on the board, we never had that low of a balance. But we've done a lot of work, I understand.
But I have a question. We were told that the excess fund was 36,000. If you're saying it's only 20 as of December, where's the excess fund of
But
36?
it was paid. It was paid.
No,
Those bills were
I'm
paid.
asking the CPA.
Oh, okay. I
At
didn't
the
know you
end
were
of
asking
December
that.
31st, Donna or somebody stated we had an excess fund of 36,000. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
It's a
you
supplement
clear
money.
enough.
Okay, the excess fund of last year operating as of December 31st, 2022, Brenda, you said 36,000 was excess fund left over from last year.
I think that 36,000 was settlement money that
Settlement
we used
money.
for the drainage.
Oh, so you didn't say we
No,
had excess?
no. That was all
She said it
drainage.
was from, she said it was settlement, their settlement amount, it was less.
So we
Oh, I'm
still go
sorry.
back. You know what? Really all I'm interested in is how are we doing to budget? What are our actuals to budget so far in 2023 and what is our year end? That's what I'm looking for and I'm assuming that's what I'm gonna get this weekend. So I'm excited.
Good. And in knowing that, we have still, don't we, Donna, if I'm not correct, major insurance coming up in May?
No, our insurance isn't until July.
Well, okay.
Yeah, not
May,
May.
June, or June, I don't know
Yeah, and
when,
there-
okay, exactly the month, but
Yeah.
that's a major bill
Yeah,
coming
and
up.
we're still, and as far as what I was told, it's not, we're not gonna be lost. They're not gonna give up. The insurance companies that we have right now didn't go out of business, so
Well,
we're
no,
not.
I'm not saying we're gonna lose insurance, I'm not. we
Well, I
don't
was
know what
worried
the
about
bill-
that
We don't know
with
what the
Ian.
bill is, I'm looking at the bill, I know what my
Yeah,
insurance
but
just
we
went
have,
up.
the budget went up about $9,000
Okay.
more because of the fact that we thought it was gonna go up because of.
But
Right, but we've only got
got 20,000 in the
$28,000.
operating, and you've got a big bill
But that's
coming up.
December. We still have January,
I don't think so,
February,
he
and
said as of now.
No, he said as of
No,
December.
December.
December, oh, year end, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I
So
didn't
what's
hear
our
that.
balance
Sorry,
now?
Joe.
He doesn't know. They'll
He
do it
doesn't
by the
know.
end of the weekend.
Brenda
Okay.
knows.
I don't know what your
She's-
balance is right
yeah.
this very second.
Oh, okay.
She's still working.
Okay.
I mean, I could look it up, but I'm not gonna do that right this second.
Okay. Anybody else, because,
Yes. History and alum.
Yep.
there is confusion about the 3,000 retainer. They still owe that for us. When we deducted it from that one invoice, we were under the impression, because the lawsuit was almost done, and this was when Phoebe came in, that he was transitioning to Phoebe architecture. Our lawyer advised us not to request the deposit be refunded at that time, so we paid it back to them. So yes, they still owe us the $3,000, and I can provide you all the
You have to
records.
provide it because we
Yes,
don't have it.
I don't have it.
There's
I
no
provided
minutes
it.
or anything to know what was.
That should all be in the draw. I will provide it to you.
Okay.
It would have been nice if it had been provided a year
It
ago.
was
It
not.
was not.
We don't need
Hey,
to.
you know, and you know, I think-
Well, I'm sorry,
But
but
it
you know,
was.
You know what, I'm kind of sorry too, because at no time did you ever make any kind of attempt, hey, you know what, maybe we can go talk to these folks and learn this kind of
But
stuff.
Donna was on the board.
All
for a
I'm
whole
feeling
year,
is a
and
lot
she
of
was aware
animosity,
a
and
lot.
I don't see why this is happening. I mean, it's our
Don,
community,
I'm
right?
sorry, but I'm gonna have to get leaving. Does
Thank
anybody
you,
have a final
Joe.
question for me?
Anybody have a question for Joe, because he's leaving right now? That's it? No. Thank you, Joe.
thank you.
If somebody
very much.
comes up with something at a later point, you can get my email address from Brenda, and I can answer any question you have.
Thank you,
so
Joe.
much, Joe.
All right, good night.
Thank you, good night.
Bye.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
So, yeah, I would like to talk with you
Yes.
privately about this, because I have the email from you that says that you applied the three.
That was.
I'm just letting you know what I
that was
pulled and
what day-
found.
I don't know what date that was, but that was because I had, but then we were advised to not do it because they would have pulled out of the lawsuit, and if we needed them, because the lawsuit wasn't ended, if we had gone to trial, we would have had to repay them.
But you can see where I would arrive at that decision.
I don't know what else we
Because
got, but,
your email says,
well.
treatment of the
somebody
3,000 on
asked me
files.
Too, because,
I'm
you know,
sorry?
I had said that to Julie, I had sent it to Donna was on the board, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
They
but
still
we
owe
need
us
to-
$3,000.
well, I need more, I'll have to find some more
Yes,
documents.
I will get that to you. One more thing, November minutes should be, they weren't approved, you had a meeting, it was the walkthrough, but there should still be meeting minutes.
That's correct, and I was responsible for those, and I haven't
Okay.
completed them yet.
Okay. Also, the annual meeting minutes from 2021,
We found them.
Yes,
so they will be
finally
posted.
found them, yeah.
Well, they weren't approved.
They weren't
Well,
approved. We
we
have
should
to
approve.
we approved.
Like you said, we
your back-
approved the notes.
Yes, the talking.
So we
points.
found the minutes after the fact.
Well, who checked that? But that's okay. So we will get the meeting minutes, okay. So then they have to be approved again?
At the next annual meeting, yeah. You'll be doing 2 years of them.
Okay, one final thing, it has to do with the election and the board. It appears from my records that Kathy Nucci is actually not on the board right now. Hang on a second,
Who's chair for all this time?
No, this is
I'll go home.
based on, this is based on the election and stuff. Now, let me just see if I can find it. Because, here it is. In 2022, there was no election. The board members that remained and were appointed, because, you know, it was Donna Bausch, Ron Peterson, and
Jane.
Ben Jane was on it.
Yes,
Right.
3 of us, yeah.
So,
I mean, Ron wasn't considered to be on it.
Ron
he
was
had-
still
well,
on it.
Ron was
He
on it,
was,
yes.
but
Ron was on it, and what
Okay.
happened was, I remember the meeting
I did too.
distinctly.
He was,
Someone from the floor said, he's moving in 2 weeks, he
But-
shouldn't be on the board.
but-
So I ran outside and I got Jill to take his
and
place.
she was appointed at the organizational
Exactly.
meeting
Yes.
to
Yes.
fill the empty slot. So she was appointed for 2 years. But she was on the election ballot for the last,
No, she took Ron's position.
no, she did not.
She did.
Ron's position was,
Does it really matter?
yes, it does, because you're not elected.
I was appointed because Dale
Yeah,
left.
but you were appointed for Ron Peterson, his ended on 3/1/22, his term. You're only appointed for the remaining term.
No, she.
I'll send you all that and you all can discuss it, but you need to be appointed by the board is what I'm saying.
You know, I was appointed by the board.
Yes,
Okay,
I
since the meeting's not ended, I'm going to appoint right now Kathy Nucci on the board as of tonight. Who seconds it?
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
She's appointed now.
And you know probably what it's done. It does make a difference. It does
I'm
make a
sure
difference.
it is.
It'll
I'm
make
trying
a
to
difference
say.
when the next election
All I do
comes
is
up.
write
There's three
stuff.
positions that are up. That's the only
Yes.
thing I think.
Then it's fixed.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree
It's
with
fixed
you.
now. So I made that
Just makes a
the meeting
difference
that has
that
to go on file.
Yes.
We have to make sure that that goes
Put
in
it on
there.
there.
Okay, but Kathy is our treasurer. Jill is our vice president. Joan is a director. And Jane is our secretary. And I'm the president. I wanted somebody else to take it, but nobody wanted it. So I have it.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah, really.
Thank you for serving.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we
We really do
too.
appreciate that.
I'm with Ray. I'm not sure why there's the animosity with the old board. I think we all want to help.
We wanted you,
We want you to
we wanted you to succeed.
Okay.
That's why we didn't run. I mean, but no one ever said, do you want a transition meeting, or you asked any questions, just like I said with the ACC.
Well,
it's
because
not
there were
me.
2 people on the board that had been on the board prior to that.
Okay, but now
So-
there are a lot of discrepancies, and every time something comes up, I understand what Carol's saying, you try to point a finger. That is not always the proper protocol, and that's not, Jane, that's not appreciative sometimes. And we don't need
And it works
animosity.
both ways.
We don't, it
I
does, it works
agree, it
both
does.
ways.
And you know what,
Everybody
Donna
just needs
Donna requested stuff, and basically she was always told to go to Vista.
That's right.
Okay?
That's
So that
right.
may be where that came from.
I never got it, I never got it.
Well,
I asked you-
I'm just letting you know that that is what happened to her a lot of the time.
Donna,
That's
you can
true.
speak for yourself.
That's,
okay?
no, I'm speaking
I
for
agree with
myself.
that.
I did ask Monica.
And how many
Yeah.
times
for
have I
stuff,
said?
and she did tell me, go to Vista, they have everything.
Okay, you know
So,
what?
that was it.
That part is not important anymore.
That's all in the rearview mirror.
It's all over and done
So
with
let's
now.
going forward,
Right.
if you're not sure about something,
Ask me. Yeah.
you should feel free to come and ask. I mean, every time, I gotta tell you, every time I come to one of these meetings, there's some kind of a dig in there, like the prior
Previous
board
board.
dropped the ball, but we
Previous board.
fixed it. And that gets old, I'll be honest with you, that gets old.
Well, you know what?
Because
And
it's
we're all
easy,
volunteers too.
it's
We were all
I
volunteers.
know.
Yeah, and
So-
I know
it's easy
you
to go
will.
back and do this all with hindsight.
I talked to
Yeah,
people when I
so-
first was on the board, and I was told on many occasions by several people, well, you're new to the board, you don't really know what you're doing. So I'm sorry, but you know, that also got old after a while.
Well, I'm gonna say
I don't know
something.
who-
I'm gonna say something. At the meeting last month, we, from what I understood, we had a 15-minute meeting. We did not have a forum because all it was elections. And what happened was, when people left the building and went outside, they were handed 4 sheets of paper given to only certain people. And it did get to me. Someone in our community gave it to me, and that's why everything's on this list. If I didn't get that, you were all about to bombard me and the board.
I wouldn't say all.
I'm just saying, there were people that were gonna bombard us with a lot of open foreign questions last month. So when we're talking about dissension, where was that? What do you call that?
I think I think everything's clean, right? You got answered all the
Okay.
questions. Going
And
forward.
Now it's clean.
That
You're
was
right,
the problem.
Carol.
Right.
Thank
So
you for
going
stepping
forward,
up.
it
It's
should-
true.
It should
It's
be.
done
Thank you.
now.
And
Right.
we answered those.
We answered the
Back on
questions.
even
It's done.
footing.
And I think we
Exactly.
also should start treating Brenda with some respect as well.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm gonna fix that right now,
Yeah.
because I'm gonna let you all know that I'm done after my
Oh, no,
year.
don't do
I am,
that.
no, you pay me $550 a month, and I deal with this every meeting.
know.
I tried to work on this at the budget meeting and get everybody together. Yes, I know I've made some mistakes, but I've owned up to them. But this is the most high schoolish community I have ever worked for. I love everybody in here. You guys each bring different things to the table that I appreciate. But I'm not working for you all after June 30th. So I hope that you guys are happy or not, it doesn't matter.
No.
But I have to do what's best for myself and my company. and my employees.
And Brenda, I respect your decision, and you're right, it is a high school community. There's total, you cannot walk down the street without someone talking behind your back.
But everybody's responsible.
And everybody in this community, including myself, is responsible. And no matter how many times we try to fix it, it's ridiculous.
I really tried hard at that budget
I
Zoom
saw it
meeting.
today, I saw it with someone else, and all I said is, you don't have to like your neighbor, you don't, but you have to respect them. And if someone says hello, I have people snubbing me. My husband hasn't been spoken to by some people in years for nothing. This man has done nothing. It's just ridiculous. It's high school, it's high school.
Does this means that one source has decided that they will sever their relationship with us?
Yes, that's exactly what it means. I'm sorry.
And I respect you.
And now I'm gonna let you know, don't be surprised how much it's gonna cost for a management company after this. I'm letting you know that. Every one of you in here,
I think
you don't realize how much things are out there, and you're all in for it. It's gonna be very expensive.
And I also
Very
would like
expensive.
everyone to know that Brenda has bent over backwards
Yes,
for
she
this
has.
community.
Yep. She has.
She has bent over backwards. She has received harassment constantly, and I am going to call it harassment, whether it's a legal term or not. She has gotten daily phone calls. She has gotten daily emails. She has gotten 4 emails from one homeowner within a couple of hours. It has been constant. I don't know how you expect anybody to work under those sorts of conditions for you.
So this
I mean, it
would be-
seems that there are some people who are never going to be happy, no matter what is done, no matter what we try and do. There are still the constant complaints.
It's never gonna happen.
So never
So
ends.
you know, right?
Of course.
This is the second management company that has fired us as a community.
And
We
I
had
wonder
the
why.
very first one, and now we've had this. So
Yes.
we all kind of need to get our act together.
Well,
I
perhaps
think
we
so.
also need
All
to
of
look
us.
at-
I think so.
And it's going to take
We
leadership.
have to start
It's gonna take
realizing,
leadership.
because let me tell you something, I did interview several people, and we picked her because we thought she was strong, she would be able to handle it.
We need to
This
go
thing-
out into the community and
Honey,
make that change.
you
We
have
need counseling.
no,
We need counseling.
You know what, if everybody just behaved
Right.
and acted
I think what
kindly,
we need to do,
it's just, it's
before
silly.
you go to that drastic, we'll talk.
Okay.
But
We should have a
before she
social
goes,
gathering.
we need a social
We need
with
a social.
everybody in the
Well, you
community
know what, I
and
think
start to
Brenda
get
has
along.
To remind ourselves that we're just
Yeah, I was
people.
told it was too expensive.
It's not just this.
To work that out.
But
It's not
this,
just
this can't happen anymore.
Right.
Because I'll tell you, the next time we have a meeting, I will get a police officer in here and pay him.
See, but
This
that's
has
not
got to
necessary.
stop.
That's not necessary.
I understand, Chris, but it's
If
got
she
to
doesn't
stop.
want to.
I don't want to do it.
We went, you know what, you know, Donna, we went through this from history. We can go through it. When you said you got 4 papers, when I was on the board, you passed around with Dale a reserve study behind the board.
Yeah,
We
we've
can
done
go
it.
back. We can bring up all
Yeah.
kinds of garbage, as Kathy
It doesn't
said.
matter.
Moving
Going forward.
forward, it doesn't matter. It happened. And that's where it's all started from years ago.
Bringing it up.
I just
You
moved here a
weren't
couple
here.
of years ago.
That's right.
And when I moved in, I was told there was a lawsuit.
Yeah.
And you can't touch the pavers on the back of your porch. And you can't move anything because it's under the lawsuit. And where is the lawsuit? I can't tell you about it. We couldn't hear about the
Because
lawsuit.
we couldn't.
And-
Mr. Stoll knows when it's
All right.
confidential. and
All
the
right, this
reports,
meeting
that's
over.
true.
And Donna knows
What
this,
you
she's
say?
used that too. You
Okay,
can't
just
do
meeting
that.
over. And you know what, the animosity was there right from the beginning when there were competing factions right from the beginning, and it bled like a cancer through the community.
Yeah.
And this is where we are, to
Yes.
where we're getting
where we
management
are.
companies who fire us because we're acting like a bunch of kids.
Ridiculous.
And so when we're on the street, let's do say hello to each other. Let's do make nice with each other, because it's only 60 homes.
I agree.
Right, this really, 59. This really,
59.
this really doesn't have to go in the minutes. So why don't we go
We're
ahead
not
and
going
adjourn,
to.
and so some of these poor folks can go home and have dinner?
Well, I I understand that, but I think everybody here needs to hear this.
Oh,
Well, it's a shame that the whole community.
We need to
can't
go
hear it.
forward and reunite is
Yes.
what we need
Great.
to do.
Under your leadership, Donna.
You know what,
Exactly.
We have already,
I'm
you know,
trying.
you mentioned the
You
idea
know
of
what my
social gathering.
suggestion, Donna, could you, there's only partial, this is part of our problem. The same people in the community. I would like to see a letter come out from the president or an email to the community about bringing unity into this community.
I can do that.
I think that's important. And it starts, let's say it starts at home, you know what I'm saying? We're here, we heard it. And if you're just gonna take this outside and all go back and, Donna said this one, I said this one, that's not gonna work. So maybe if you want, we want the board to be successful. I want that. I've told you that many times. So maybe now that this has come to fruition, and Brenda is thinking seriously and has said that, and I don't blame her, she's done a fabulous job. But you know what, does she have the support of the community and the board? I'm not so sure, I don't know. But I know she's done a fabulous job with what she's had. But you know what, she's not feeling valued, and that's important. So maybe too, our community, people need to know where we are at, why they're important, that they take interest, whether or not you're 99 or 25 and you're not here. We need to put this out there to them, and so they all understand where we are and what's happened and why this has happened.
I can do that. I did
Carol
that for the
mentioned-
projects.
Carol mentioned a social gathering. I've mentioned that at least a couple of times since I came here.
Mike wants to have a
And
plate.
we had just been talking about it as a board. Donna had suggested it just recently. And we were thinking about doing it and getting together in one of the cul-de-sacs.
Yes.
Okay?
Yep.
So, I mean, it's not that we're not
Even if
thinking
we
about
just
this
have
stuff.
drinks,
But
and
the construction
appetizers.
project has kind of taken over our lives.
Everybody brings something. I think it's a great
exactly.
idea.
Bring your chairs and go.
But
And that's
before
it,
that,
everybody.
I still would like to see a leadership letter to go
Well,
out, because
we
so
have-
people will come and attend.
There will be, because we're doing a
In the very
newsletter.
first
And you know what,
newsletter,
Brenda
it
tried
was
to-
mentioned that we
Yes.
wanted a social
Oh, yes, but I'm just
committee and-
saying, from what has
Yeah.
transpired tonight, I think it's extremely important that we hear something
From our
to
leaders.
every home,
I'd also
about
like-
where we're at this.
I'd also
meeting.
like to mention Kathy has
Oh,
put
I
together a
will
new.
come out, definitely, okay.
I'd also like to mention Kathy has put together a newsletter on a couple
And
of
it's been
different
wonderful. I
occasions.
told
Nobody
her.
said it, no, well, I don't know
have.
if
I
she's
sent
had that
her a
much
note.
feedback.
One
Didn't know
person.
there was
One person?
I
Okay,
sent
one
her a
person.
note.
She asked for people to make any suggestions. It's not that we have not been trying.
Yeah.
She has asked. Nobody has come forward with any suggestions about what they might put in the newsletter. Nothing from the
And
community.
I'd like to say one thing before we
I think we're gonna have to adjourn.
I know we need to adjourn. We took on those big projects last fall. Donna met with every one of the people that came to give us a bid, to look at the job. She walked the community with all of these, at a minimum, 9 people, because we got 3 bids for every job. Okay, she walked the community with them. Every time there was something going on, she was out there. She was the manager. She was the project manager. And then while she's out there, does anybody care that she's doing that? Does anybody say thank you to her? I'm saying thank you to you, Donna, for what you have done for our community. It looks beautiful.
I don't think that was ever,
I think
I
you're
don't think
right.
that was ever in question. She was there and
Well,
she took
but
everything.
a lot of people.
It's actually been questioned pretty strongly in all of the things that we discussed tonight.
Well, and I'm saying, she was there for every little, she
was there.
and she took care of it for us. But Kathy, in our defense, we all have had bids in the years, we walked with bidders, I did we walked, okay, and it's a thankless job, but yet
It really is.
we have heard thank yous, and I know she has heard thank yous, and I did respond to your newsletter. I'm not looking for praises, but Jane always points out the negative. You think you pointed out a positive, and I just think that needs to stop.
I want to say one more thing about this list, because Jane seems to think there's an issue with the list being aggressive. It's not. These are all issues that we would have tried to resolve, and the
Then
board
why did
has
it not go to everybody in the
I'm
community,
talking.
Monica?
And the board has
I'd like an answer to that
not
question.
resolved that because I don't have to
Why
send it
did
to
that
everyone.
question, why did this not go to everybody in the community if it was in everybody's interest?
Or at the
Well,
very
Why
least,
did it
it
just
would
go?
have been done at the annual meeting, but you all didn't let anybody talk about it, so. And these are all issues that we have been trying to resolve for months and months on end, and the board knew about it.
it's not
All of
that-
these issues were brought to the board's attention, and we
And
got
all of
no,
those, and all
no-
of those issues were fixed.
they were not fixed. I still have favors that are not fixed,
You-
but we're not talking about it.
I understand that, but our hands are tied with
The
these.
financials
You
are
have to
not done yet,
understand.
but you're missing the point. The point is that there were no answers from the board coming about all these issues, the board did not address them. And these are real issues.
So we appreciate that you address it.
All right, I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
It's gonna go on.
6:35, it's going to keep going. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming tonight.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
We will take everything that you said